Good morning and welcome back. Kent Bain with 9 Business Group and Elevate Your Business Chat. We have the pleasure of Keegan Lang joining us today. Keegan, welcome. Please introduce yourself, your company, and what makes you unique and different.
Hi, so my name's Keegan Lang. I have a few different companies under my belt, but All Elements Renewable is the one that we're going to discuss today. And we're a soft service O&M service company working on performance enhancing materials for renewable energy, solar and wind.
You got to say that again. So solar enhancing, expand on that for the people out there, because if I missed it, so did they. So solar enhancing services. So we say it again and elaborate.
Solar and wind enhancing. So so what we do is we clean modules. We do agricultural controls, vegetation control. We also add anti-reflective coatings to the top of modules, as well as matting underneath for bifacial gains. So those are some of the performance enhancing stuff for the solar industry. For the wind industry, same services again. We'll do cleaning and vegetation controls of the facilities, but we also do blade enhancements as far as like hydrophobic coatings on the blades.
Okay, that sounds absolutely fascinating. What on earth, how do you enhance the blade of a wind turbine?
So they have high degradation due to impact. So if we can do impact resistance, and also hydrophobic. So by putting a coating onto that blade, it gives lifespan to the blade for up to 2 to 3 times the blade's life expectancy.
Very fascinating. This is not on the script, but I don't care. How the heck did you get into that business?
It's gap identifying. So part of what I do, and this is just, All Elements Renewables is one of our businesses, but we also have Silver Fox Management, and these businesses really are built around gap identification in the market. So what we do is we do a lot of market research. We'll find a gap in the industry, and we will try and solve it. And that's kind of where this came. So when it comes to the wind turbines, obviously there was a lot of operational costs to fixing these turbine blades, and sometimes it's done in situ in place, and other times it was it's full retrofits of these blades. So we noticed that this was a major gap and a major cost that it was really hard for the industry to equate. So we came up with a solution that brings legitimacy to a lot of their operational costs.
Fantastic, good for you. Very cool. In all the years in business, what has been the biggest challenge you've overcome? How did you tackle it or solve it, and what was the outcome? What does it look like today?
I think we have a lot of different technology. So we enter into a lot of different business scenarios. I think what it is getting a very strong description of the service that you're providing. I think it's also key faceted. So there's marketing, and then initial stage, early stage costs for development of items and startups. That is a major gap again in the market. I haven't quite solved that one yet completely. So but yeah, early stage financing is really hard because it's high risk financing. It's high return if it works, but if it doesn't work, well, there's a lot of people. So it's a narrow group of people that are willing to do that type of seed or angel investing into something that is like development technology or development business. So you'll find that in our businesses, because we're gap analysis, we're really looking at gaps. We're usually cutting edge and we're new technologies. So it's that's probably the biggest gap. And how we overcame it was really getting very descriptive about what we're doing, putting a lot of energy and effort into testing and verifying our products, and making sure that our business strategies, in that case, like for AER's case, it was definitely a business strategy, and then entering those markets aggressively. I think that's how we overcame them with some of the successes. And also you identify your failures pretty quick that way as well. So
cool. What is one thing now that wish you would have known when we started in business? If you take to today's version of Keegan, you go back in time and you kind of go, one piece of knowledge, one piece of advice, what would you impart upon yourself before you went down this journey as an entrepreneur?
I think, there's a few things that I would go back and, educate myself on if I could. I think one of them would be the people I engage with, the people that, we have to work in this world with trust. And obviously you gotta, it's always the best initiative to trust someone and then, lose the trust of that person throughout the process. But you have to be very hesitant because there's a lot of people doing ambitious things. And then there's also a lot of people out there that are willing to take advantage of others. So we have to be careful of that. I think if I could go back in time, I would educate myself on, like getting to know people better. I think I'm there today. Like I have a pretty good judge of character, but if I had a better judge of character 10, 15 years ago, I'd probably be much farther ahead today.
Sounds like that's a separate interview on the cost of poor relationship judgment. I hear you. You're probably not
that's for sure. Yeah, there is. And I think that really matters. I think everything we do, like we're humans are built socially, right? So we're social human beings, and everybody generally has a motive. Like I think everybody does. We all engage in these social relationships with motive. So really identifying those motives of those people early it's key, right?
Yeah.
Making sure, and it's not like bad or good. It's just making sure that those motives are in alignment with yours, right? Like
absolutely. No, I think it's a huge part of it. It doesn't matter if it's a buyer, a seller, partnerships, contracts. It's why are you doing this deal for me? Is it a win-win? Are our motives aligned? If I'm a good client or a good customer and you're a good supplier and you are as well, then it should be a win-win.
That's right.
But when the motives aren't aligned and one of the two people is looking to take advantage of it, then it's not a win. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's a huge part of it. And there, in many times in life, you can have a win-win. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. Yep. Nice.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. And the quicker you can identify that and the more educated you can be, the better you are. Right. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it also, if you're negotiating a contract, to think about the contracts I've signed over the years, most of us at times are willing to give up a few things in order for a win-win. We don't have to give them all up. But if we can have, say, my 3 or 4 non-negotiables and you got 3 or 4 non-negotiables, there's a whole bunch of other things that we are willing to negotiate on that if things are more important to you than me, then we can do that for sure. If there was a pirate, a thief in your business, what would they steal from you?
Technology.
Technology.
I think it'd be technology and then strategy. Because we have very unique strategies. I think people would, I covet my strategies.
Okay.
And then how we approach our networks, obviously, with those strategies. Those are the things I covet, because that's really where our success lies, right? It's in how we identify the gap, we strategize to solve the gap, and then we, network. So that's really the key elements to the businesses I work in.
So not to give the secret away, but what kind of technology do you lean upon?
We have all different types of technology, so it's cutting edge. Like some of the other things that we're working on is development of waste management facilities for renewable energy. So that's really high tech stuff to be at the top of that market and to really be, market changing, disruptive. And then we look at other things as far as, storage, energy storage at the moment it's a major cusp, it's a major gap in the market. Transmission and distribution is going to be crippled soon with the amount of renewables coming onto the grid. So how do we add resilience to renewables? That's like a major gap. And then the only way to really do that is with high technology items. And they're actually simple. So the more simple, but high technology, but simple, if that makes sense. So easy to integrate into an existing market, simplicity, makes sense in the market, can translate to the market. But on the same regard, it has to be unique, and it's, because otherwise we would be doing it, you know what I mean? Or we'd be doing it already. So
yeah, for sure. You've had a couple different businesses. It sounds like you've been around for more than a year.
Yeah.
What is your definition of a successful business, and has it changed over the years?
Yeah, so I think right in the beginning, we always talk about revenue. Everybody wants EBITDA, and what does that business translate to in profitability? I think that still is a part of my forecast, but it's not the premise. I think the premise is sustainability now. I think I've moved over to, because you can stretch a business out for 5 years before you see, high profits in it, but it's sticking through that time and understanding the impact in the business and then really adjusting to the market and making sure that, we have resilience. So it's sustainability and resilience of the business. That is definitely something I look as a key indicator. Yeah.
That's a great comment, because I think especially, you're not in Alberta anymore, but if we look at the economic swings that Alberta itself has faced in the last 10 or 15 years, and if we even look at the rate of change around the world from an economic point of view, I think having a business that can be resilient, but get through at least one, if not two, of these economic swings plays a massive role in that consistency and sustainability of a business. It's one thing to start a business, say in a place like Calgary, where it's big enough where you can quote unquote steal market share from the competition,
Yeah,
or ride an economy up. But it's a whole nother thing to ride an economy up and down, and then come out of that on the right side. And there's been, what, in the last 15 years in Alberta, what, 3 or 4 relatively significant economic swings, whether they were international based or just based on local politics. So
that's
it's
right.
a great piece of advice to share with the world. To wrap this up, if you could be known for one thing, what would you be known for?
Changing the world. So this is definitely, I'm a legacy driven type person, Kent. I want to leave a legacy of change on this planet. So if there's one thing I'd be known for, it is to help people.
To help people. How do you measure that? As a coach, it sounds great, sounds wonderful, makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. But
Yeah.
the coach in me goes, how on earth do you measure that? And have you figured that out yet?
Yeah, I think I kind of have. So it's actually moment by moment. You break big wins into small micro wins. And I really have a strong belief that anybody that meets me should walk away better from a conversation. So if I can have a conversation with every conversation and engagement I have with each person I have, if they leave me with a positive attitude and a better approach to their being, then I have achieved. And that's how it's measured.
Simple. So it really is, it's not building a company where you have tens of thousands of employees or measuring the impact on your clients. It's very much, it's both. It's very much on a micro level where it's one relationship, one conversation at a time, and then compounding those to build something larger.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Good for you. So for those interested in learning more about how to protect wind turbine blades and make their renewable resources easier to manage and more cost effective, where would they find you and where they get more information?
Yeah, you can find me at allelementsrenewables.com or aerrenewables.com. And yeah, check our website out, or you can reach me at keegan.lang@aerenewables.com, and I will gladly assist you.
Excellent. Thanks again for your time. Been a great guest. Appreciate your insight and looking forward to learning more about what you do in the weeks and months to come.
Perfect. Sounds good, Kent. Thanks.
Have a good one.